What's up, guys? This is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about personal development for INFJs and how to create an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about why INFJs love to wait it out. So waiting out has a lot to do with observing. If you're in a position where you say, I don't need to share my opinion right away, I'm going to take a step back, I'm going to actually wait it out and see how are people going to react. What are their motives? We allow other people and situations to unfold in order to use that to create a new image in our mind of how the situation will play out. It can be one of our superpowers if we don't take it too far. And this is also something I want to tackle today because almost all of us, me included, tend to go overboard with this. I have learned my lesson and now go in a different direction. But once we even understand how to stop this, how to not go overboard with this and actually take action in certain situations, you will see how you will gather that much more benefit from the superpower of being able to wait things out. Before we get started, I want to remind you, if you want to take the next step in creating your INFJ Epic Life, then check out the INFJ Epic Life Masterclass. There's a great final sale offer because I'm taking it out of my program by the end of January in order to focus on bootcamp and on coaching. So let's talk about waiting it out. So no matter what kind of situation you're in, you will probably say that you'd rather see how other people react. You want to see their character traits. You want to see what they're all about. And then you make your decision. Then you decide how are you going to play it out from your perspective. What opinions are you even going to openly say? Are you willing and able to open up to that person? Is it in your best interest to go in direction A or direction B? And the more information you have, the better of a choice you can make. See, it's really interesting when you think about this from a perspective of an INFJ versus an ESTP. So both of them have their superpowers, like every personality type. For us, it's the introverted intuition, which we then optimize through our introverted thinking. ESTPs, on the other hand, their superpower is extroverted sensing, which they combine with their extroverted feeling. So what does this have anything to do with waiting it out or taking action or stating your opinion? Well, it plays a role because if you have that superpower of NI, for example, you're probably not that strong in the SE department. SE meaning extroverted sensing, meaning when you have an opinion and you put it out there, there's a force behind you. You get to convince people and change situations based on the fact of your power, of your force. It's something that really attracts people because we all want this in our life. It's a sign of vitality. It's a sign of things are moving forward. Things are changing. Things are growing. So of course we all want that to a certain degree in our life. So that in itself will persuade people. And ESTPs have this ability to combine this with FE, meaning they understand how to express a certain emotion, how to be able to convey a message in an emotional way. We do too, of course. Our FE is even stronger than that of ESTPs if we look at it from a stack position. But the point is that we don't have that much force behind it, right? It's not like there's this SE force and then we just combine it with FE. So let's go back to the question of taking charge, stating your opinion, moving forward, in contrast to waiting it out. So we as INFJs come from a perspective that it's in our best interest not to put force into it first. Because first off, it's probably not going to convince too many people. If you put your force forward as your main thing, you say, I'm going to neglect everything. I'm just going to go into SE. I'm going to shortcut absolutely everything else that has been going on. It's probably not going to be convincing enough to change the outcome of a situation. On the other hand, we have learned that we have a very strong sense of understanding situations, of understanding other people, their motives, and through TI, we give this whole thing a system. It makes sense in our mind, and once we have a system, we can hold on to that. It's a system we can work in. So this has been a path that has worked so well for so many of us. And on the other hand, for ESTPs, this probably isn't the best way to go because it's not as strong as it is for us. Meaning, if they just listen listen and look how things will turn out, they will never get the benefit or the best result in comparison to utilizing their strongest suit, which is extroverted sensing first. So I'm not really saying here I'm comparing two people with each other. I'm really talking about, let's say, the archetype of an INFJ and the archetype of an ESTP. But the point is that we focus on those strongest suit of ours in order to have the best results in life. And so that being said, of course, there is a different approach for INFJs than you have ESTPs. And for both, it's exactly advised the way they do that. But here comes the trick, and this is something I learned rather late, but it's also something that changed absolutely everything for me. And that is that we, if we're not being careful, go overboard with this. This is a typical niti loop situation. For the ones of you who don't know what that is, all of the types in MBTI have a tendency to bypass the second function and therefore also the fourth, completely neglecting those and going way more into first function, third function. So this can be for extroverted types. In the case of ESTPs, that's going SEFE, and that's when people get really aggressive and want to just convince people of their opinion and push and push and push and push and don't ever weigh things out or listen to others. This is an unhealthy trait if you go overboard with this. For us, the unhealthy tendency comes out in I try to understand even more. I'm never going to share what I really believe, what I really think, because I've already made up my mind that the person who would see that, if I would express anything of myself, they would use this against us, or they would not like us anymore, they wouldn't respect us, because in our mind, we have gathered enough information to know how that person would react if we would bring out our opinion through, let's say, FE. So it's not just about what you say, but how you say it, the emotionality behind it, and also put the force into it, which of course isn't as strong as it would be with an ESTP, but it's still there. It's not like it doesn't exist. But this can be very tricky because you honestly go into that niti loop and you never find a way out of it. You completely disassociate from the real world, you wait it out, and you become this observer. This is why so many INFJs say things like, I never feel part of life. I feel like it's all happening outside of me. I don't feel like I have a part in this. I've just numbed myself out. That's an niti loop. And this is something we are all prone to. We have to learn that this is going on, and the only way to really get out of this and create something better is to go into our extroverted functions. Because listen to this. Yes, going in that direction of I observe, I wait things out, I understand the situation will bring you that far. But let's say you've gathered that much information within the first 5 minutes, you already know enough in order to move forward. Let's say you have gathered 80% of all the information that is available. Again, this is just a model, just to make it understandable. Of course, this doesn't apply exactly through life, but let's say you can gather 80% of all the information available within the first 5 minutes. What most of us do is we spend another, not 5 minutes, probably not even 5 days, but 50 days trying to figure out the last 20% and going into those micro details, thinking if I just figure out this 99.9th percentile of this person, then I'll be able to really react in a way that is beneficial to me. But the truth is, it won't. Because if it would have already worked when you did 81%, 82%, 83%. And if you've gotten to a point where you continuously need to have more information, where you continuously want to wait it out, where you continuously want to understand, then it's because you have gathered more and more information and that information hasn't brought you forward. This is a truth we have to accept and to understand that there is a limit to this. I barely benefit from anything if I go those extra 20% there. I actually lose more and more power because the more you go into that niti loop, into that world, that internal world, the less we can actually express what we really feel. Because in the end, what is so great about understanding another person if you can't even translate that to them? If they will never know that you understand them because you believe, okay, me not reacting, that in itself will already make them understand understand what I'm about. But it won't. People need to hear it. People need to experience it. And the only way to do that is to go through our external functions, meaning FE and SE. And when you do that, you will definitely take a risk. That is the thing that so many INFJs are worried about because it makes you open to judgment. Every single time you go into the NITI world and you just think of things, you observe things, you allow other people to show their true self, and then you decide, okay, is this person worthy of me expressing myself? You're always taking a screenshot of how this person acts without your true colors showing. Because if you go the other direction, if you say, yes, I'll take those 80% of understanding, I'll wait it out for, let's say, those 5 minutes, and then I move forward. Then there are things that I know that I will always stand by. There are things that if that person judges me for it, that's okay. They can either adapt their opinion or move out of the way. But I'm not holding myself back in order to not be judged. I'm willing for that. I have learned to overcome this. And with that, you save yourself from all of this trouble of completely getting away from what is going on in reality. Our SE doesn't have to be as strong as other people's is, because most of our power we gather through waiting it out, through observing, through understanding the situation. And then to top it off, we use the force that we do have as a combination of our emotionality. So we combine FE with SE and we bring a message across. That message might not be as strong and as forceful as you would have it from an ESTP, but because of those 80% that we have used to understand the situation, we are able to meet the other person or group of people or whatever kind of situation you're thinking about that much more precisely. But in order to meet them that precisely, you have to express it. People will not know what you know if you're not willing to bring it out. And that comes with the fact that you're making yourself vulnerable. That is real vulnerability. Because we very often think vulnerability is all about, okay, I'm showing the other cheek, I can just be the martyr, I can be the helper, I'm neglecting myself, and I'm actually even opening up and telling that person how much I like them or how much I respect them. That is vulnerable on one level. But the real vulnerability is to show your strength, is to show this is where my force is at, knowing that probably it isn't the strongest one out there. But through that, you show other people a part of you. If you don't do this, there's no way people will actually know what you're about. Think about it. Even you, how do you understand how other people are? How do you understand what their motives are? The only way you can do that is if the others express themselves. So if you're not willing to express yourself, you will never be able to make other people see, understand, and hopefully value what you have to say, what your mind is all about. They will not understand all the knowledge that you have and this intuitive thing that you have going on. It will be hidden within you and you'll always feel like people don't understand me. Why can't they just show up in a way that is good? Why can't they show up in a way where they accept me? You have to be the one who shows that part of you. You have to be the one who puts forward your internal ESTP, because through that, people will really see what you're about. Of course, it's never going to be exactly how you are. We all know that people see the world the way they are and not the way we are. That's a given. But you will create that much more in the real world. And then you'll see it's not necessary for me to figure out if that person is worthy of me showing that part of me. You're not doing anything that makes you vulnerable to an extent of, okay, that person now knows a secret of mine and can destroy me. Because you're saying, I'm making myself vulnerable, but I'm doing it in such a way that I'm saying, this part of me, I'm taking responsibility for it. You don't have to like it. I'm willing for you to see this and then say, sorry, that person is not for me, because you are taking care of that part. You love that part. You are feeding that part. And then people for the first time have an opportunity to see things from your perspective, to adapt their viewpoint, to maybe see, oh yeah, he or she, they're right the way they see the world. Let me learn a little bit more from them. Let me adapt to them. Let me make a compromise of how I've been seeing the world and see it a little bit more from their perspective. So if you use both of those approaches and you know, yes, my biggest strength is my NI and my TI, I will use this, I'll wait it out, I'll understand the situation, I gather information about people, but then the rest of those 20% I'm going to approach by taking on my extroverted functions. And you'll see you will understand less of people. I've told you this many times that now I'm not aware to that extent of what kind of music my best friend likes. I'm not aware of her biggest fears or her worries or how her world really turns out or all the emotionality that was within her. For the longest time, that was my crutch because I didn't want to take care of my reality. So of course, we were just best friends, specifically in college. We were just hanging out all the time and I was focused on her. I was focused on how she's reacting, how she sees the world. The moment I started putting that FE forward in combination with my SE, it stopped because I'm just not taking in more information about other people than those 80%. But that doesn't mean that our friendship is worse. Not at all. It's just that now the entire focus is not on her life. It's much more balanced. She's more interested in my life because first off, I start expressing myself more and vice versa. It has become a balanced, healthy friendship where things are level-headed. And this goes for everything that I do with my life. It's not just like my friendships, it's my relationship, it's the way I interact with clients, with my parents, with the world. And it has helped me to transform my life from feeling like things are just happening outside of me and I have no control to somebody who feels like she's growing every single day. This thing has helped me to create an INFJ epic life. So I can only encourage you to dare to take that step forward, to dare to be judged, because you will learn that you will be able to get over it, that you will be able to stay content with what you have to say and who you are and not focus on if people like it or not. You stay in your lane, and if people accept this, they come to you or they go their separate ways. I really hope that helped you, inspired you. You got this. Don't just wait it out. Use your power. It doesn't have to be as strong as other types in order to make the biggest difference in your life. Remember, if you want to take the next step in creating your INFJ Epic Life, then check out the INFJ Epic Life Masterclass. We talk a lot about force there and how to bring that out. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video on the INFJ Paradox, Monk versus Warrior. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.